I've just made a video about buying and restoring a small floor-mounted diesel heater, and the plan was that once I'd restored it I would sell it, but I've kind of it would be too emotive to say I've fallen in love with it, but I have become quite attached to it. And so the idea of selling it is, well, I'm struggling with it a bit. And my wife, bless her, said, why don't you put it in your shed? Well, my wife has to have a passport to come into my shed, and I can't think when she came in the last time, but it is so crowded, there is no space for it. And so I've ummed and ahed about it, and finally I've reached the momentous decision that I'm going to put it in my shed, and this video is going to be the journey. And I've never done anything like this before, so we'll see. So this is the space we're working with, and what I'm thinking of doing is to line with fireproof plasterboard this bit and this bit, and then I'm going to get, I don't know, maybe a big paving slab, or if I can find cheaply enough I don't know, bit of marble offcut or something, and stick that down there, and then the plasterboard will sort of lap round it and drop down and run along here. I'm going with plasterboard, because fireproof plasterboard, because it seems to be massively cheaper compared to some of the other products, like this vermiculite boarding. I found some that was quite cheap, made by the manufacturers, but they then wanted another £55 to put it on a pallet. And so B&Q, which is fairly local to me, I can get 2 sheets, which is, they're each 2.4 by 1.2 by I think 12.5 mil, and provided I can get them in the car, because I don't have a roof rack, and provided I can get them in here or cut them outside, I think that should be a plan. What I don't want is lots of plasterboard offcuts, because when you take them down the tip they charge you. So that's the plan. My shed was pretty cluttered to start with, but in order to clear this space I've had to move everything down the other end, and I can't find anything. Good news. On Marketplace up popped this piece of marble, hearth marble, reasonable price, quite local, so I thought it'd be rude not to. And so I have this big piece of marble here, which is going to sit in the corner over there. I've washed the floor, because it hasn't been washed for 10 years. Don't know why I did that. And so, assuming I don't end up with a hernia, that's where it's going. Well, the postman has been, and he's left me this. I wonder if you can guess what it might be. I'm hoping that this is my double-skinned flue that I'm going to have to put through the roof. But I'm not quite ready for it yet. So the idea is that it attaches to the top of this This is 90 mil, and the smallest flue I could get, double skin flue, was either 80 or 100, so this is going to be 100, so it's going to sit outside with a 1/2 inch gap round there, and my plan is to get some heat resistant sealer and squirt it all round there, cut a big bit off the nozzle so it goes in really thickly, and then apparently, so I'm told, that will set like stone. So that's the plan. What could possibly go wrong? Why is it every time you go into a store you think you can get something in the cart, and then when you get it out you think, that's enormous? So what I want to do is to use the remaining plasterboard I've got, which is like strips, to build up as far as I can so that I don't end up taking anything to the tip. The problem I've got is that the way I've cut it, the main sheet of plasterboard comes to this edge here, and if I run the plasterboard along here, I've only basically got this to attach it to. So my plan is, I've found some old bits of batten, so my plan would be to screw those in there so I can attach the plasterboard there and there, and also there. I haven't quite decided whether I'm going to nail it in or screw it in. Well, as you can see, I've cut out all the plasterboard. I wouldn't say these are the straightest lines I've ever done, but I've never cut plasterboard before, and I was using my two new best friends. It's a jigsaw with quite a fine blade on. Trouble is, when I was cutting down, there was so much dust coming off I couldn't always see the line, and I had a mask on so I couldn't really blow the dust away. And then when I sort of roughly got them in place, my new bestie, my BFL, was this multi-tool with a blade on, and I was able to just cut all the straight edges. So it's done. I mean, working in there, because it was raining when I did this yesterday, and so I had to work in the shed, and the shed's actually not quite 2.4 meters, so I couldn't even have them straight. I had to have them at an angle. But hey, it's done now, and we just got to see if it fits. It won't be a thing of beauty, but hopefully once I've got this heat resistant, not filler, it's like a gun, and once I've painted it, you'll never know. Did you have to get something so big and heavy? Mind your fingers. Mind your fingers. Mind your fingers. Job's a good one. Ta-da! Let's start offering up some plasterboard. Let's see if it works now. That's pretty good. You can do it. Right. Have I got this the right way around? Oops. What's going on here then? A little bit of fettling required. Do I need a mask? Probably. Well, I'm not winning any prizes, but it'll be fine. I'm just going to put a cheeky nail in, a screw in, and see if I think that's going to do the trick. Well, it doesn't look fantastic, but I think it's going to do the trick, so I'm going to put a couple more in. To be honest, it's almost holding itself together, and once I've put the sealant in, I think I'm going to be okay. So, the plasterboard is all up after a fashion. I think I'm going to see if I can get some plaster filler to put in there. I mean, it's a shed. And now, let's put the stove here, because that's after all what this is all about. Having bought so much plasterboard, I can't believe that this is all I've got left after I've done all the filling. Well, Father Christmas has been today, and so what has arrived is my heat resistant sealant, which I'm delighted to say, it says the natural colour is off-white beige when dry. But the sealant can be sanded when dry and over painted, so that is brilliant news, because I had a funny feeling it was going to be black or something, so that's good. And also arrived is my very fetching witch's hat, which is described as Chimfit low temp flashing for flat roof number 5, black, 4 to 7 inches low temperature. So because the flue is double skinned, you don't need a high temperature one of these, you need a low temperature one. So once I've fitted it through the roof, which I'm not looking forward to because I hate cutting holes in roofs, you put this over the top, but it's obviously graded or graduated, and if you look really carefully you can see 6 to 6.5, 5.5 to 6, so 160 mil is 6.25, so I'm going to be between the 5.5 to 6 and the 6 to 6.5. So what I'll probably do is cut it on the 6, because I'd rather it was too tight than not tight enough, see how it fits, and if I need to cut a bit more I can. And then on the underside here you've got this sort of ridging, so you put a big wodge of mastic, I think, and press it down, and I think you can also, if you want to, screw through. Well, I'm not as fish as I thought I was. I've managed to get that on, and I really struggled because it wouldn't go on at first, and then I realised that round the other side, on one side you had the imperial measurements, 5.5 to 6 inches. On the other side it had the metric, and with the metric one I should have actually been one grade lower, So I've gone down one grade. I can tell you that is tough to get that on. I pulled it on as far as I could, then I bent the edges back and pulled it down, and quite frankly I don't fancy being up on a roof pulling that down over there. So I think what I'll do is I'll leave that on, and then when I've made my hole, I'll go up on the roof and feed it down from above. That sounds like a safer plan to me. So I'm almost ready to put the double flue on, and I'm just paranoid about making a big hole in the roof in the wrong place. So what I've done is I've made a plumb bob out of one of those things, forget what that is now, and a piece of fishing line, and I've suspended it right in the centre of a 160 mil circle, and I've screwed in there a little bit. So my plan now is to take that down, go on the roof, place it in exactly the same spot, because obviously I've put a screw through, and then cut away the roofing felt, so I've only got 160 mil circle gone, and see if I can then drill some pilot holes, cut a circle out, and I'll have no more felt missing than I absolutely need. What could possibly go wrong? I have this very sick feeling in the pit of my stomach that this isn't going to be in the right place, or the hole's going to be too small or too big. If it's too small I can make it bigger, but yeah, not done this before. I'm not going to lie, that was really scary. I kept on thinking, don't make it too big, don't make it too big. And then when it all came out I thought, that's supposed to be a circle, that's not a circle. I know, I had to do a bit of fettling, and I put it up there. It's the wrong way up. I've put it up that way, but it needs to go in for obvious reasons, because the manifold is on the bottom and it needs to be on the top. So let me show you. There's a bit too much light there for my liking, but as I keep telling myself, that manifold gasket is massive. It'll cover up a multitude of sins. I sure hope so. I cannot tell you how many times I've been up and down this roof. You bring up everything and then it's like, oh, you need a screwdriver. Then it's like, you need a this, you need a that. Oh. So it's kind of all done now, but there are some really worrying holes here which I'm going to try and fill, but I'm not sure the mastic is going to do it. So what my plan is I've got a few bits of roofing felt, which I might just cut into strips, put round, so when I put a big dollop of mastic in, it doesn't fall straight through, and in the process try and make sure I don't cut anything I shouldn't cut. Roofing felt lap mastic. So far so good. Make sure I keep some for the gasket. Pulling down the gasket, take 2. Oh, come on. Oh, let's see. Go round in a circle. Ever decreasing circles. There's a knack to this. Seeing I've got any left. Yeah, I should have. Right, let's make some space. There we go. I don't know why I'm doing this, no one's going to see it, are they? But I'm going to see it in my mind. Why did I think it would be easy? Oh, so the idea is that you just mastic inside the tape. Genius! It's a bit flexible in places, but the point is I think there's a good layer of mastic there. So I'm going to call that a day. And if I'm pedantic, I'll come and... Actually, I should take this away now, shouldn't I, really? Oh, crikey. He fell into the gutter. Oh no, you muppet, you're taking away all the mastic. I could go on playing with this all day. It wouldn't achieve anything. It is done. Well, I'm just off the roof for the umpteenth time, and it looks to me like it's all masticed in, fairly straight. What could possibly go wrong? Proof of the pudding is the boiling kettle. So it's all done and dusted, and I would say the objective has been achieved. The only thing that I haven't got at the moment is on the top is a cowl, and last night it rained really heavily, so I've got this alight this morning just to dry everything out, but the cowl should be arriving today, so that's a bonus. I've done a previous YouTube video restoring this Taylor's 072 heater, so if you'd like to see how I did that, give that a look, because that's this very thing that I acquired as a heap of junk and now it's restored. So I hope this encourages you to convert your man cave as well, or your woman cave, or your person cave. It was exciting, enjoyable, and quite frightening in equal measure, but it's done now. So I'm going to take my kettle and make myself a cup of tea.